Hey everyone, real big announcement. Don't go anywhere. Do not skip over this. I am going to be doing more podcasts. Yep. Instead of just getting a notification once a week on Sundays, you are now going to get a notification. That's assuming you get notifications for this podcast on your phone 3 times a week. I am making more podcasts. They are going to be shorter in duration than the regular uploads, but they're going to be oftener. In order for me to keep doing that, I need your help. I need Patreon support. And in order to light a fire under your belly for that, I am offering a free copy of my new book, How to Get Hitched and Stay Hitched, for those who sign up at the $10 a month level. So head on over right now to SuzanneVenker.com/podcast. Scroll a little bit down. You'll see the orange Become a Patreon subscriber button. You click on that, hit the $10 button, and you will get a free digital copy ASAP of my new book, How to Get Hitched and Stay Hitched. More importantly, you're going to have more Suzanne Venker show coming your way. So I really, really appreciate everybody to take a hot second, pause this program, jump on over to SuzanneVenker.com/podcast, click on that button, become a subscriber, and then come right back over here and join us. I'll be waiting. And now, on with the show. From the magnificent Midwest, it's the Suzanne Venker Show, where men and women are equal in value but wildly different by nature. Join us here every week when we challenge the culture's hugely flawed narratives about men, women, sex, and love. From coast to coast and from around the world, thank you for joining us. So I need to talk to you guys about something that's been bugging the heck out of me. And I have a lot of friends who would disagree with me on this. So this is going to ruffle some, it won't really ruffle some feathers because they know me and it's okay to disagree. It's not a problem. But I'm going to read a message, an email from a gal named Dani. That's a Dani. So it's a woman and she's 25. And she is not an anomaly at all. I get this stuff from this age group all the time. And I have a lot of my own children are embarking on their 20s, or at least one of them is. And a lot of my friends' kids are. And I want the parents to hear what I'm hearing so they can begin to look at this a little bit differently if they're willing. Here's what Dani wrote. Dear Suzanne, thank you for existing. You give the advice that nobody does. I thought I was weird and even felt guilty for wanting a more traditional life. I'm being pressured by my parents to do a master's degree and throw myself into a $100,000 student loan. I just want a normal life, to get married and have kids. Why do they pressure me like this and make me feel that what I want is not remotely as important as being a lawyer, which is what she went to school for apparently? I couldn't care less about making $100,000 a year myself. I want to be free to do what I want, and what I want is so simple and so in my nature. I feel so sad. I don't know what to do. My parents say, you'll have kids later, or you don't even have a boyfriend, you're not getting married tomorrow. No, I can't control when I'll find a husband, but I can control not getting into debt. I find that becoming a translator would be a better option for me. It obviously doesn't pay as much as a lawyer, but I could be hired as a freelancer and be able to control my time, which is not the case for most lawyers, especially if they're in debt. Kids are simply not a viable option financially if I take that route. I'm not finding the support I need in my family or my friends. Help. Let me start out by saying what most women do end up doing so that parents in particular can hear me. I shouldn't say most kids, most women end up doing is what I mean. Let's just start with the fact that she went to school to become a lawyer. Do you know that law schools have more women in them, or more women graduate from law school than do men. But once they get there, more women drop out way before partner status than men do. This is not the only career space for which this happens. This is across the board. This is what frustrates feminists so much, because they can't get women to the top where they want them. Because in order to get women to the top, you have to be able to sacrifice your home life. There's no way to become a bigwig in any field that requires 24/7 attention if you don't sacrifice family. It's just not possible. And so the reason why women stop short, the assumption, at least on the part of feminists, for example, is because they're held back in some way, which you and I both know that's crap. They're making the choice to step out because they want a life exactly like Dani's describing. They want a balanced life. They want a multifaceted life. They want a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They may want to be employed, but they want to move in and out of the workforce as the needs of their families change. This is what most women want, even if they don't know it at 23. They end up doing that later. This is extremely important to know. If you know that these are the facts, that at the end of the day, it's very, very few women are willing to sacrifice this multifaceted life for this all-consuming career path, then help them set up a life that will allow that to happen. Don't ignore the most normal and human response of most women, and honestly, most men. It's just that they end up doing it they often end up having priorities at different stages, because women are the ones who give babies and men don't birth babies, and men don't. They have the biological clock that men don't, so they have a shorter time frame with which to get their lives in order. But don't ignore this desire and value and hold up big careers or money or status as something that your kid should aspire to. I mean, honestly, that value is what's out of whack. That's the culture's values. You've fallen into that trap. Even if that is what your values are, it's not your job to pass that on to your kid, especially when most people don't share it. Most women definitely don't share it. And honestly, most men don't share it. Most men do not become all-consuming with their careers either. They want balance. They want family. And because our values are so screwed up as a culture that we put career over relationships, it causes parents to unknowingly jump on board and just sort of follow. They're just sheep. They're following what everybody is doing around them. But they're not stopping to think that women like Dani are real, and they're the norm, and they're, in my opinion, a silent majority. They don't know how to tell their parents, I don't want what you want. I don't want what you want me to want. Let's put it that way. So for anyone who missed it, just to drive this point home, there was a 60 Minutes segment, Australia segment, that I responded to and put on my site. So if you go to SuzanneVenker.com to look and see what I gave it for a title, I think I made it a sticky there, so it's easy to find. Women have had enough. It's time for a new life direction. That's the name of it. And there's a link to the 60 Minutes Australia video, and then I wrote a little blurb on what's going on there, and it has everything to do with this email that I got from Dani, and the topic that I'm talking about today, which is that women are suffering trying to fit into this box that the culture wants them to be in. And I guess you could put it under the umbrella, the age-old, we've heard this phrase for decades, of this having it all concept. But I don't think that parents who are telling their daughters in particular are to do what Dani's parents are telling her and to become a lawyer and to go into debt. And I need to do a whole thing on debt, because student debt, which I am going to do, because that's another problem in and of itself. But I don't think they mean to say you can have it all when they're telling the Danis of the world, this is how you should live your life. But in effect, that's the message that you're sending. It's that the world is your oyster. You can do anything on your own timetable, and your goals should be money and status and career. And to the extent that people want to bond and form families and have relationships and have their focus be there, what is so threatening about that? What are we here for if it's not to build bond or to build bonds and create families? I don't understand. I mean, the idea that you can push it off 10 years and have something else be your focus and everything else will fall into place, you can see that doesn't work. It doesn't mean that you have to get married at 25. That's not my message, although there's nothing wrong with that. My message is prioritizing relationships over career by thinking out where you want to be 10 years down the road and taking the steps that you need to get there. And women like Dani need a path for that, which, by the way, a little plug here, that's why I wrote How to Get Hitched and Stay Hitched. It's literally about this. It's about how to map out your life in a way that allows you to succeed 10 years down the road. Because the majority of life's most defining moments those decisions that we make occur in our 20s. They're front loaded on the 20 in that decade. There's important decisions that will be made later, but so many of the decisions that we make in our 20s build upon one another and create a life that is often still with you when you're 40. And so this message that Dani gets from her mom and dad, you can have kids later, you don't even have a boyfriend, you're not getting married tomorrow, go into debt, become a lawyer. This is a terrible message to send, especially unless that's what the person wants. But very few do want that. There has to be a better way, and there is a better way, and it's laid out in How to Get Hitched, by the way, to help your daughters map out a life that allows them to get married and stay married, whenever that may be, and to live a balanced life that allows them to actually raise children, and if they want, to carve out something of their own outside of that. There is a way to send that message, but the way it's being done now, isn't it? So, Dani, if you're listening, I hope that answers your question, and I wanted to answer it in this forum for any of the other people who can relate and find it to be useful and wish to pass it on to whoever they'd like. So they heard something different for a change from what so many parents in our culture tells young women. And that ends this hour of the Suzanne Venker Show. Don't forget to go to SuzanneVenker.com/podcast and click on Become a Patreon subscriber, where you get early access to the shows as well as other perks. This is what allows me to continue to bring you quality content commercial free. That is my number one goal, because you know what? Commercials suck. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great week.